Just through.
Awesome. Wow.
Come on, baby. Come on. Yeah, we're live.
Sweet.
Let's see, let me make sure. Yeah, we're live. Okay, so let me clear that. All right. So it's here and here. Okay, we are now live. So let me, we're going to roll the show out in about 2 minutes. Let me see who's in the house and allow people to get in here. Let's see. Yeah, everything's a go. Good. We've been having a little bit of trouble with Facebook, but it's all working out now. Okay, let's see here.
Should work fine now that the Mercury retrograde has long ended.
That was a wild time, and I don't even follow that stuff, but yeah, I honor it now.
When that was happening, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, they shut down for twice.
Yeah.
For hours, two separate days.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on with that. Yeah, and even today and yesterday, really the last 4 or 5 days.
We have Jupiter and Saturn in retrograde as well as Pluto. So these are Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter being really big planets affecting us.
Yeah, Jupiter was speaking to me the other night. I didn't know what it was, and then I got the little app out and I looked at it, and it was Jupiter. Yeah, that was okay. So I've shared it to the network, and let me just say hello to who's here. If these shows resonate with you, please share. We really would appreciate it. And thank you for all your love and support and contributions. We're currently and still 100% viewer supported, and we would not be here without your love and support and contributions. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. Hello, TL Guadalupe, my sister in Sedona, Tom White Bear, my brother in Delaware. Tia K's here, Heather Houston, Sasha Grace down in Byron Bay, Connie Ma. I got your message, Connie. I actually got a message from another person too. 2 people were in the same room watching a show. Both had their own devices, and the shows were running on different timelines. Their devices were running on different timelines. My sister in Sedona, Tom White Bear, my brother in. Is that you or me? Okay. Let's see now. Richard Lowry is in the house. Fiona Carthrew, Susan Marie. We had a great show with her yesterday. Very powerful. I would highly recommend anyone that wants to get some good current real-time intel from a dear sister, beloved sister, Susan Marie. It was a great show yesterday. Morgan Lee, my beloved's in the house. She's actually downstairs, and she's Monique. Monique Hendry's here. I put up a post from a year ago that Monique did that was really good and timely for today. Ernestine Llewellyn, who I think we're going to be getting on to the show. Frederica's back. Terry Duro, Dane Jones down in Florida drinking coconuts. Detellis Tiara, good to see you. Angel Divine, Jennifer Ray, Helen, Angel of the Light, Barrett Tunyan, Amanda Henning, Jennifer Ray, Pia Holland. They're coming in too fast. You have to forgive me, everybody, if I don't get your names. Amanda Lowe, I see you. Sherry Raymond. There's some new faces here, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Todd Medina. This is the Soulogy.One Network. Our primary show is Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation. It's not an interview. This is about 1,000 episodes, give or take 10 or 15. I'm not really sure where that number lands. And it's a pleasure today to have a very special beloved brother with us. I'm going to introduce him properly by reading his bio, and I'll let the bio speak for itself. So let me just go to that now. Luke Elijah was born into a family of holistic healers and spiritual practitioners dating back 4 generations. After his powerful and intense spiritual awakening, Luke followed his instincts and left a successful multiple award-winning career in the fashion and media industry to follow the footsteps of his ancestry to pursue a path of spiritual service. He has since been fulfilling his true life purpose to serve as a full-time spiritual practitioner and teacher who conducts and facilitates various holistic themed workshops and guided group meditation classes. Luke has a YouTube channel where he regularly uploads videos with spiritual content and feature interviews with various successful and interesting people in health, fitness, holistic, and spiritual fields who have inspiring stories to share. Sounds a lot like Soulogy. He is the owner and moderator of the Lightworkers Guild Facebook community, as well as a host of other popular health and wellness social media pages such as Health, Beauty, and Soul. Together with both his parents, Luke runs and operates the popular holistic center Heaven on Earth, which is conveniently located in downtown Singapore and offers a variety of holistic services and products. They frequently travel around the world to exhibit and present at various spiritual fairs and holistic festivals such as Mind, Body, Spirit Festival, Burning Man, Bali Spirit Festival, Heart, Mind, Body Festival, Soulscape, Wonder Fruit Festival, Rainbow Serpent Festival, Oregon Eclipse Festival, Boom Festival, and much more. Luke is a well sought after speaker and has also been extensively featured by the international press and media such as the History Channel, News Asia, CNN, and much more. So without further ado, let me just thank you for coming in and sharing space with us today and honoring us with your presence. Luke Elijah, welcome to Soul Speaks 5D. It's a pleasure to have you here.
So much, Todd. Thank you. It's a privilege and honor to co-create with you and to aid in the ascension process through our teachings and our healings and, you know, connecting this way. We are very, very grateful to Spirit who has orchestrated this for us to connect and to give everyone who is watching, and as well as live, as well as the recording later, to give them some information on the energetic pulse of what's going on with our journeys, our collective consciousness, the collective consciousness in this time of the ascension.
Absolutely, that's what we're here for. We you know, after doing this so many shows on here, somewhere along the line, I realized that the most important downloads, transmissions, and channelings we can get is from talking to each other, talking about the experiences we've been through, because we do activate each other and open up code in each other and exchange code in each other.
Yes, exchanging codons and light codes for sure. And through this sharing and interactions, that's true unity consciousness. We are teaming up, we're collaborating, we're sharing in our experiences, learning from each other, getting uploads and downloads, and then spreading it out through, you know, social media to everyone who's watching and so forth. You know, many practitioners have been coming out of the spiritual closet, so to speak. Lots of them, like, you know, they're at first, even myself included, years ago, I was afraid to tell people that I'm a spiritual practitioner and into sacred geometry and extraterrestrials and all this esoteric stuff. I'll tell people I'm a yoga instructor or meditation coach because it just sounds more familiar, more easy, and more commercially acceptable. But now, no, you know, I bravely stand out in my power and my strength, and I tell people this is what I do. And you can see as well, more and more people are awakening rapidly. I have seen the progression over the last several months, aided by, you know, all the lunar energies, the supermoons, the eclipses, the retrogrades, and that's really knocking sense into people, getting them to really rapidly awaken. Time is accelerating so rapidly. I'm sure you feel it.
Yeah, we've everything that you said, we agree with, because, and I say we because I'm saying the whole Soulogy energy, the crowd, because this is what we've experienced, especially the last few months, everything that you cited. I'd like to ask you just a couple of questions. And reading your bio, you come from a 4 generations of holistic practitioners, but you went into, I don't want to know if it was a matrix career. I had one of those, but I mean, it sounds like you were involved in or mainstream stuff. And then you mentioned an awakening. What happened to you? When did it happen? And tell us.
Sure, it's a great story. In fact, the media likes to cover it because it's such polar extremes. When I was young, I was baptized and born to a Catholic family, and I went to a Catholic school. I've always knew that somehow I always knew it deep down, one day I'll be a priest, and I wanted to be a Catholic priest. In a way, I'm a priest now, just not without the official robes, right? But I got caught in the rat race, lost in the matrix, in the 3D war, as you mentioned about. I was told by society that, you know, I need money and fame and power in order to be happy. So I seek those things, and I decided to go down the path of learning fashion. studying fashion and then delving into the fashion and media industry. I worked there for 20 years. And the reason I got into fashion was because when both your parents are spiritual practitioners and in this line of work, my mom is very psychic and she's a healer herself, and my father teaches Tai Chi and Qigong and does Chinese metaphysics. When both your parents are in this line, was the most uncool thing you could think of. So I was trying to rebel, trying to do the complete opposite. So I never felt like I fit into the fashion industry. I only stayed because I love the creativity, the art, the expression, creating works of art. And that led to a really suicidal depression when I was at the age of 33. That was about 7 years ago. I'm turning 40 in July. So that depression, for no reason, I just became depressed. And well, I was like, why am I so unhappy? Because I have everything that society taught me that I needed to be happy, but yet I wasn't. I had so many awards and trophies. I had money in the bank, beautiful clothes. I was dating models. I was like, okay, what's wrong? I'm traveling. I'm doing everything right, per se, but deep down, I felt so empty, so lost. And that spiraled me into my first dark night on the soul. I was like, chronically depressed. I wanted to end my life. So I spoke to a Korean model friend of mine and I said, Krista, I think I want to end my life. I can't see what's the purpose. No matter what I do, I can't find happiness. And she said, why don't you try meditating? And I was like, what? I can't even keep my mind still. Those second time, I'm gonna meditate this monkey mind. And I was like, but you know what? At that point in time, I sunk rock bottom. I recall it was it was Boxing Day of 2011, 1 year before that 21st December 2012 official, shift to the golden age, the new age of Aquarius. And I was like, there's no harm trying it because I can't go lower already. I really want to end my life. So she brought me to a bookstore to buy a book called Ancient Teachings for Beginners by a Canadian psychic called Douglas DeLong. And I read that book from cover to cover and I followed the instructions. I started to do chanting and opening up my chakras. And wow, I felt amazing. I felt like I was floating. I felt, for the first time, I felt a deep sense of inner peace. I said, there's something in this that worth discovering and delving into. So I actually quit my career in fashion, immediately dropped it, and I started to work on myself. Finally, I was working internally instead of chasing stuff externally and materialistically. I was catering to what I had neglected, my emotions and my soul. So for 2 years, I worked on myself. I had passive income streams from my fashion retail store, as well as stocks and equities that allowed me to not have to work in the 3D sense, allowing me to give me space and time to get certified in Reiki, massage therapy, sound healing, and all other spiritual practices. So I was really spending a lot of time watching videos, reading books about all the spiritual subjects from all the spiritual teachers, and most importantly, practicing it, processing it, integrating it. And then that led to me meeting my twin flame. And when you hear twin flame, people have a misconception. They think it's a romantic partner, but it's actually a spiritual catalyst. It's the mirror reflection of yourself to show you all the good and all the bad, all the stuff that you're not dealt with, to the forefront. And I would say that, that plunged me further into other dark nights of the soul that then led to greater awareness and consciousness, and pushing me, to the forefront to serve in ever bigger ways, to do similar things like you and other practitioners. I feel for a large part, I noticed our peers, the shamans, the healers, the leaders, the spiritual practitioners have to go through this process first, so that they have the experience, the wherewithal, the compassion, the resonance to aid and assist others. So now we can see other people, other strong individuals going through the same process of meeting their twin flames, that then triggers them into purging and releasing old dogmatic, sabotaging negative beliefs, and all the ancestral karma and all the childhood trauma and wounds that they've not dealt with, all coming to the surface. And the retrogrades do that as well. The Saturn retrograde bringing all the karmic stuff for us to deal with, the Pluto retrograde pulling out the shadows, the anxieties, the depression, and all that shadowy stuff that we're suppressed and repressed and ignored. right? So it's the time to purge it out and release it. And it's scary because people have not dealt with it before, and suddenly they're inundated with all these energies of ascension, and they're feeling really ungrounded and they feel lost. And that's where we come in, because we have gone through it, and we still going through waves and waves of it. And each time when we release a layer, peeling off a layer, it gets more easier to deal with, because we have the experience and we've already dealt with some of that issues. Yeah. So it's endless expansion. Every time you think you hit a ceiling, the ceiling is actually the floor of the next level.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I've been saying that for years, since I woke up. And my timeline's about the same as yours. Mine started in 2011. I don't know when Boxing Day is, but it was end of May. It was, well, it'd be what, 7 years ago this month, 8 years ago this month. And then it went for a few months, and then 2012 came, and everything started happening. Yeah. But I used to hear early on, because I spent most of my time alone the first 2 years, like you did. That's right, you were 2 years too, right? And I used to hear, it's a scale of 1 to 10, and if you get to a 10 at the end of the day, you've done, you've ascended for the day, basically. But when you wake up tomorrow, the 10's now a 1, and there's a new scale of 1 to 10.
Exactly. So you think you're enlightened, you know it all, right? Spirit comes in and knocks you and shows you, like, that's your ego. It's infinite, right? Source is infinite. That's true spirituality. The yin and the yang combines everything that you think God is, and God is that, and God is also what you think He's not.
That's right. That's right. I know. I spent what, probably the first 3 to 4 years writing. That's when I started Soulogy, and just writing really about my own journey. And I was constantly saying, I'm not my ego, I am soul, and then I met my divine partner and started very, very powerful divine feminine. Had been receiving for about 20 years, and I started to learn that I couldn't distance myself from the human, and took me back to a place where today my motto today is the human is the hero. I'm Todd for a reason, you're Luke for a reason, and we're only going to be who we are one time. That's it.
Precisely. I think people forget, even spiritual practitioners, because people assume that spirituality is some kind of a new age religion. So they place a lot of fear-based, control, dogmatic judgments around it, thinking that practitioners need to be perfect, right? They need to be perfect embodiments of light and higher consciousness and light and love all the time. But they've forgotten that true spirituality is integration of the darkness and the shadow aspects of us as well. We came for a human experience. Yes, we are perfect source and light. We come from source, but we chose to descend out of that singularity, that oneness state, to step out of it and to descend to a denser vibrations. We are having a temporal human experience. We're already eternal spirits. We don't have to be more spiritual, really perfect spirits, but we chose to be imperfect. We chose to be perfectly imperfect as a human being. So, like what you mentioned, our humanity is as big a part of us as our divinity, is having the both. And when I was a photographer, I understood this concept well, because every time I shone a light on a subject, like a model, I create a shadow. That shadow will always follow you as long as you are in the realm of duality and polarity. In this dimensional reality, you will always have the contrast, and that contrast is necessary. And sacred plant medicines like ayahuasca, or psychedelics like LSD and all the plant medicines that we have, give in fact, they spoon feed you a sense of actually giving you the experience that when all time and space collapse to a singularity, you are the all of everything. But from that state, you have to actually step out. Yeah. And one way of in the 3D that we can have the experience without the aid of psychedelics, other than meditation, would be to do a labyrinth, to walk through a labyrinth. And the labyrinth is like when you go back to the center of the labyrinth, you go, okay, now what? I achieved my goal, and you realize you volunteer to step out again. Yeah. All right? Yeah. So
that's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. And yeah. my wife and I were talking about that today, and we were talking about the chakras, and how many of the spiritual people have connected, for years at these higher chakras, but haven't dealt with the human emotions, the shame and the pain and the fear of the lower chakras. And how important that is, to your point, that so many have gone through the dark nights of the souls, the many dark nights of the souls, so that we can. Yeah, right. And it's fun. And it's funny too, because even if you look at the pattern or the equation of it, if you look at this year, for instance, many of us came through 2018, and it was like, whew, then 2019 starts, and it's like, oh my God, January was that blood moon, and then all this stuff's happened, and February is this, and March is this. And I think kind of having many, like MINI, dark nights, like these little quick dark nights, these little quick things coming in, and you're trying to clear and clear and clear. Yeah.
Waves and waves of it. Every time I think it's over, another one hits me. But I noticed that the duration between sessions is getting longer as I work, because we work on the cell every day, right? It work and purge and release and clear what no longer serves us, what's holding us, sabotaging us, what's not part of what doesn't belong to us that was taught by society. And these things have to be purged out, otherwise humanity cannot ascend. And speaking of this, I'd like to expand on how last year we had 5 eclipses. This year we have 5 again, and next year in 2020 we have 6 eclipses. The average year is 4. So all these eclipse energies are really coming out to draw out the darkness from other people. Otherwise, they will not volunteer to do that healing. They're not even aware. It's all buried so deep in their subconscious and their unconscious. They've forgotten about it. They have then masked it with addictions, with kind of like drinking, gambling, sex, being busy with work, television, all that. So that has numbed them from working on their feelings and emotions and dealing with their humanity and their childhood trauma. And so they unwittingly project that shadow again and again on other people in a cyclical manner, so it's like come ping pong back and forth, and then nothing changes. That's why all these dark night of the soul have to come in to force people to awaken very rapidly. Otherwise, humanity stays stuck.
Yeah.
And I'd like to share an interesting story of how my own dark night, we have mini ones, but there was this big major one that came to me back in 2017. Can you remember that full total solar eclipse of August 2017 that happened in Oregon?
Yeah. I was in Utah, and it went purple.
Okay. So I flew from Singapore all the way to Oregon, Portland, to serve in the Oregon Eclipse Festival. So we had to drive 5.5 hours outside of Portland to get to the festival. This festival was 60,000 people, huge. Everyone wanted to see the total eclipse. And when I saw the eclipse at 100% totality, it was sublime. And everyone was crying, they were singing, they were like, in the zone, praying. And I sent my own emphatic and fervent prayer to the universe. I said, universe, please give me upgrades so that I can be of better service to humanity. Mm-hmm. And suddenly I felt my heart chakra open up. And I said, oh my God, what's that sensation? It's so tangible and obvious. And I felt like all the walls and barriers that I created to protect my heart from being hurt, and all of us have been hurt by others. And so we create all these boundaries and barriers without even realizing it, preventing us from giving and receiving love openly. And those walls got torn down, and suddenly became really vulnerable, right? And that spiraled me down to the dark night of the soul. And subsequently, after that, a few days later was Burning Man. And I was serving at Burning Man as well. I started to feel all this fear, and I was getting nightmares and all these negative emotions coming up to surface. And I didn't know what's going on. And I was like, what's going on with me? Because we have been trained, even as spiritual practitioners, we will be trained, it's all love and light. All right. So we have this. Which in a sense is actually a spiritual dogma, ironically, right? So we shame the shadow, we repress our human sides, we judge it, and then so that's why people don't deal with their humanity and that we are imperfectly perfect. that this is part of that human experience to if you never tasted bitter, you will never understand, you know, what's sweet. If you've never fallen sick, you won't appreciate good health. So from that respect, you must allow yourself to experience pain and sadness, to have joy and the abundance of high vibrational feeling. Because without the contrast, never experienced the contrast before, you can't conceptualize and compartmentalize the opposing high vibrations. So it's a dichotomy in that sense.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a perfect. It's like ebb and flow of life, like high and low tide. The stock market's going up and down, and that's the cycle of life. And you hold on to nothing. You can't even hold on to your breath. You have to exhale, inhale, you exhale. You hold on to let. So it's like true letting go, surrendering, and trusting the process. And that's hard because our ego always wants to step in and control and plan everything. Because we've been taught by society to do that, right? So it brings out a lot of fear. And so this whole process of the dark nights purges it out. And I must say that, you know, in this state of my life, I'm more able to live in the moment, which is what you're meant to do, and completely trust spirit to open the doors and guide us. And when you do that, it actually works far better than when you try to grasp and hold on to it and control to death. Would you agree?
Yeah. Now you talk about these waves that keep coming in. There's more distance or more time passes in between the episodes. Also find that they don't last as long. Now, what do you do? What do you do on a personal level when it comes to somebody triggering you, or the energies just get to you and you're imbalanced?
Okay. I observe it from a third person's perspective. In a moment, I say, okay, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling anxious, I want to slap that person, I feel annoyed. So I say, okay, I tune in. I say, okay, I forgive myself. I'm having a human experience. These are only feelings. I don't own them. They are part of me, but I absorb them in, acknowledge them, and I let them flow out. So I don't resist or prevent or say, I'm not going to feel these feelings. I allow myself to feel them. I cry if I have to. Crying is very purging and releasing and healing. I allow the tears to flow, right? And I do other techniques such as the emotional trauma release technique, which is like tremoring. And I do tapping, like emotional freedom technique. I use aromatherapy, I use sound healing, I do gong baths to clear it out on me. All right, and those are really effective. Journaling is very useful as well, writing this, processing these emotions. So the only way is true, in other words, in order to have the breakthrough, you have to break down first, you deconstruct yourself. So instead of escaping those emotions, I just acknowledge, okay, this is how I really feel. All right, and once I acknowledge it and process it, I dissolve it and release it. So I have a lot of consciousnness and awareness as I go through this process. I give myself time and space. I don't lash out at the person. I try to avoid doing that in that moment. I step aside of the situation, take myself up into third person's perspective, look at it from a high and broad perspective, process, integrate it, deal with it, cry, purge, release, sing it out, dance it out, cathartic, release, and then let it go and say thank you. Right.
The gift. The gift is in the shadow, right?
The gift that keeps giving, really,
The gift that keeps giving. Yeah, it does keep giving, doesn't it? Now, you traveled a lot. First of all, you live in Singapore.
Yeah.
We do have a global audience. Most of it's concentrated in North America, Canada, and the US. A lot of Europe, a lot of Australia, but Singapore is kind of we've had a few people on from that part of the part of the world. What's it look like out on the streets of a big metropolitan area like Singapore? Is there evidence of the mass or the expansion of this awakening on the streets of Singapore and other places you've been?
Really good question, right? And when I get to travel so much, I can compare the different markets, the different societies, the different cities, and how they are in their level of awakening in consciousness. I found that in my travels, Australia is the country that has the highest demand. You have very good work-life balance. And Singapore is the complete opposite. We have one of the longest working hours in the world, together with and alongside Japan, Korea, technically mostly in Seoul, the capital, Hong Kong, and Singapore have long smoking hours. It's not unusual for my peers and my friends to work from 8 a.m. all the way to 11 p.m. and they'll come back exhausted. And this is the rat race they're living is deliberate. It's created in such a way that they keep striving for more materialistically, and they come back so exhausted, they have no time for themselves to process their feelings and emotions, to work on healing themselves, and the next day they start the cycle again. And even if they have time to watch TV to numb themselves, right? With or subliminal messages and all that junk and crap, and they brush their teeth with fluoride that calcifies their pineal gland, and they never get awakened, and slows down the awakening process. So having said that, when I first awoken 7 years ago, I was like, where's everyone? Like, I felt this precocious awakening, and I felt really alone. Like, where are the people who are into conscious living, and even recycling is not even a big thing here compared to Australia. So I would say the level of consciousness in Australia is very high. Even where you are, Hawaii and Bali, places with a lot of nature, it tends to draw a very large spiritual community. But you know, the truth is that if all the spiritual practitioners and the light workers congregate together in all these pockets, and then they leave the rest of the world in darkness, is the true work is when the pillars of light can be anchored and activated in all these places, the densest parts that really need it. And hence, I still find myself coming back frequently to Singapore to enter the light. We do Earth Grid works here. We have a community where we go to different parts of Singapore, and we set up crystal grids, and we pray and we chant, and we heal the land, and we pray for the collective ascension of humanity, and allow the higher dimensions to use this as a conduit to do the healing to the land and the people. So everywhere I've been, for example, I've never really been drawn to pyramids before, but consecutively, I was the opportunity fell into my lap to go to the pyramids of Giza last October, followed by the Borobudur, which is the largest Buddhist complex in the world, shaped like a pyramid-shaped temple. And I just came back a month ago from Teotihuacan and Chichen Itza, which is like, again, Mayan pyramids. And I'll be headed to Bosnia for the Bosnian pyramids. So, and all these pyramids are conductors. And then when we go there, we and the other light workers and the priests and shamans, we pray with the single intention of raising the vibration, awakening more people, activating more people. And that pyramid then is like ley lines. It greets to all these sacred sites, which then spill over to the rest of the world globally. So it's a global grid. But so to answer your question, I do feel that more and more people here are awakened. You can sense, you can see, and I've seen them posting. Like, for example, I have a friend. My friends in fashion used to go, "Look, what are you doing? What's happening? Crazy, right? What's gotten into you?" And now, because they've been plunged into the dark night of the soul themselves, many ones, they then approach me, "Look, I really need to go meditation. Tell me where can I go now?" Lead them, appoint them to Vipassana, and then they will, on their own accord, they'll read about these things, they'll watch my channel, and and then like, so from a place of a lot of ego and pride, people that have so much ego and pride, which I thought might never even awaken this lifetime at all, they're suddenly now channeling and they're doing psychic works. Yeah. It's like I'm actually But so I'm seeing it processing over the last few years, especially because it's accelerating so quickly. Even for me, one day passes by very fast. Yeah. And I'm seeing in the last year alone, my friends who are in working as lawyer and bankers, remember how I said I used to get embarrassed to tell people I'm a spiritual practitioner. Now it's the opposite. Now when people tell me that, when I ask them, "What do you do?" and they say, "Oh, I'm a lawyer," and they feel embarrassed that they are still stuck in that they have sold their soul to make money and do this kind of mundane circular work, so to speak. So like and then they actually tell me, "I actually, in all of you, respect what you do. Yeah. I'd rather do what you do because you're living your passion, you're fulfilling your purpose, and you're serving humanity, and you're doing good for humanity." Whereas I'm more self-serving. They admit they're self-serving and they're only earning money for themselves, right? and they say, oh, they don't even enjoy what they do. They don't believe in the financial institutions anymore, or the patriarchal systems that they're seeing, they're awakening. So it takes steps to be courageous and brave to say, that's it. I no longer want to be bound by this fear-based control systems. I want to break free. And so, and it starts with awareness. They're getting aware. And then after that, it takes time for them to say, you know what, I'm just so done with the stress and earning money that doesn't fulfill me. I want to fulfill my true passion and alignment with my soul blueprint. And people are getting to that slowly and surely. Of course, it takes, because there's always contrast. So there are places with higher vibrations and more light workers that has a larger support system of community of people awakening faster. But in denser, crowded, stressful cities like Singapore, you can see pockets of it happening.
Yeah.
And it takes us to be brave enough to be the example.
Yeah.
To show that it can be done, you know?
Yeah. And then you talked about your own experience when you awoke, and then you took the steps. You turned away and you took the steps. Yeah. And a lot of us have that same pattern, and it's also very refreshing to hear everything that you're saying, because it's everything that I'm able to hear in what I do in this show from different parts of the world. So it's very refreshing, because we haven't had much representation on these shows from that part of the world. But now you're a practitioner as well, and I think one of the big things that I'm seeing, or I'm observing from the chair I sit in, is people, first of all, they are awakening, and there's enough out there in social media. It's been out there long enough, people like you, shows like this, where they can actually go somewhere and say, okay, these people, this happened to them. Maybe this is what's happening to me. But they get this call to end this relationship, in this job, move to another place in the world. And that seems to be the biggest hurdle. How was your experience? How easy or difficult was it for you? And how do you deal with that challenge, or the challenge of your clients? Because I know they must have that challenge. You know, you can't keep your foot in one world and expect to go into the other.
Really good questions, all right? And you're going to get a multifaceted answer. When I first started working 7 years ago, I only decided to do this full time after meeting my twin flame that really pushed me into service work. I had a message from Spirit saying that the reason why you chose to be born into this family is because you wanted to do this work. That's why you wanted to be a priest. And so I've been doing this for full time for 5.5 years, even though I worked in 7 years ago. So the first 2 years was working on myself. And then that was when I wanted to go full time. So it was a completely different industry of which I had no experience. And I really struggled, especially in Singapore. Like I said, there wasn't a demand for so much for spiritual work. People were skeptical, couldn't feel Reiki energies, couldn't feel crystals, and they didn't understand it. So for the first year, I had a really hard time, and I considered going back to the 3D mundane world to make money. That way, my initial thought was I could make money, in just maybe going back to fashion or just doing normal work, and that will fuel and fund my true passion and hobby of teaching spirituality and meditation. And Spirit wouldn't have it. I was losing money I couldn't afford to lose. I tried trading stocks and shares. I spent $15,000 on an e-commerce internet marketing course, and I was spending a lot of money on Facebook advertising to advertise all kinds of things, try to sell soap, t-shirts, helping my father's meat agency. All these things weren't working for me suddenly, and I was very, very frustrated. So I had no choice but to come back into myself and sit with myself and say, okay, what do I need to do to make this work? How can I make a full-time living being a spiritual practitioner and a holistic healer, which is my true passion and my true life purpose? And then while sitting in meditation, ideas came and opportunities came. And I started to open up myself to research joining holistic fairs and festivals and getting my name out there. And I started to, I had this a fear as well as a dislike for selling things. I hated to sell products. And I was speaking to more senior and more advanced practitioners, and they say you have to sell vibrational products like crystals, singing bowls, whatever you resonate with, right? Tuning forks, essential oils. And I had issues with myself. I realized the issues were internal, were within me. It's nothing to do with external. It was the externals were reflecting my internal belief and my dislike for selling things. So I had to purge it out of myself and say, okay, there's nothing wrong with selling these things. In fact, I also changed my point of my relationship with money and abundance. When someone pays me for my service in past, I was kind of embarrassed to receive payment for spiritual and healing work, because again, we have been taught by society that, oh, healers shouldn't accept money, right? You're doing God's work, you shouldn't accept money. And that's not true, because I changed my perspective. I tell my clients, thank you for allowing me to continue, the abundance to continue this good work service. So I don't see it as them giving me money or paying me, but giving me the wherewithal and resources so that I can continue to travel and teach and propagate and help the ascension and help others and heal others. So it's a mindset shift that then changed everything externally for me. And then the opportunities came in, and people started to show up in my life at the right time.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another, right? So I started to find products to sell, everything from white sage to crystals to organize. So I kind of like try everything, sound healing tools like tang drums and tuning forks, and even like, things like this, the angel wraps. So that really was like, like mini reawakenings, higher awakenings, higher, elevating and expanding my own practice. So it's a lot of internal work and throwing away all the stuff that says that you can't be abundant doing this kind of work. So and in truth, a lot of people want to do this kind of work. They want to be artists, they want to be healers, and in even if you take something more 3D and more normal, so to speak, like say being a photographer, any kind of job, whether you're a hairstylist, a photographer, a lawyer, it doesn't matter. There are people doing that kind of work for free, for peanuts, hardly making ends meet, making a couple of thousands, a comfortable income, up to millions, right? So what sets aside a multi-million-dollar photographer from one that is doing free work or one that's hardly charging for his work? Does the one that's making multi-millions definitely better than the one that's not charging at all? Not necessarily. Sometimes the most talented people are the ones the starving artists, right, who are not charging for their work. All right, but what sets them apart is their own belief, their own having worked through themselves, their self-worth, their self-respect, their self-love. So those the practitioners that can charge a lot of money and have no qualms charging a lot of money because they believe fully that this is the kind of value they are giving to their clients and able to give their clients. Clients flock to them like bees to honey. All right, friends who are practitioners who are like they have waiting lists to even get a reading from them. It takes 2 years waiting list, and they charge a lot of money and they give a lot of value. And versus someone who maybe who's just starting and is not confident of, because they don't have the experience, not confident, they'll say, okay, I'll charge you $50, and then you have the whole spectrum, everything in between, not the full mirror. So what gives? What gives is again your internal consciousness. Have you purged out that lack mentality? Have you purged out the self-worth issues? So that takes a lot of integration, processing, healing, purging, releasing, education, experience.
I like that. I like that explanation. I'm gonna lead into another question. I like that explanation because all throughout what you're saying, and other people that I've seen on the show talk about doing the work every day. Regardless of what you're doing, the number one thing is doing your own work on yourself every single day, which is what you're talking about. What would you say to someone? Because many people that have come on this show, I've experienced it with my wife. We both experienced it individually. We've watched a lot of other people take these leaps, and so much of what we're involved with in these light worker circles maybe has some similarity to what was called New Age years ago. and there's some cliches and there's some things that sound really good, you know, like go inside, you know, like what does that mean? But what I'm getting at is I think there's a mounting evidence of people like yourself who can attest to the fact that when you make those internal changes, the universe actually reciprocates, and it's reciprocating at a faster and faster rate as the days go by. How would we convince somebody that that's true?
Such a good question. And, you know, myself included and my clients, I see we battle this. We really want to help our loved ones, right? When we see our loved ones suffering and in denial, that they are in denial even, and so stuck in the rat race, in the matrix, and so obviously unhappy and they're projecting the shadows onto everyone and dragging them down. They're affecting our well-being, our wellness, right? It's hard not to detach from your loved ones. For someone that you have very little karmic contracts, or you see very little, or that you're not in the vibrational vicinity of, it's easy to let go, detach, and ignore them, and let them be on their own and be very accepting of where they are in their journey. But when it comes to, you know, your family members, as they say, family, can't be with them, can't be without them, right? They really trigger you, they press all your soft spots. So it's about cultivating the Christ-conscious virtues of patience, of forgiveness, of compassion, and empathy. And these are very challenging. It doesn't happen overnight. It's earned, it's cultivated. And so I had to sit with myself a lot, and or especially to when I see people around me who are quote unquote unawakened, or in a lower vibrational state, or not on par, you know, and it frustrates. Of course, I first thing I do is I admit it frustrates me. And the moment I admit it, I feel the charge and the negativity of it dissipate very quickly. So, and I ask myself, I tune in back and I said, I am in control. I'm not in control of the external circumstance or them. I cannot control them. But I can control how I want to react to them. And the moment I own that power back, I can choose again of all the vibrational states, what do I wish to shift myself into. So even though, so I realized I changed myself. I changed myself to be more accepting and more forgiving. Have they changed? Physically, they have not, but it takes linear time for them to change. It has to be in their own timing, their own willingness. So I do the whole Ho'oponopono. I send them and myself. Yeah. I send myself first the love. I say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Right? The 4 simple statements and mantras, so easy, but yet, so universal and easy, but yet people have a hard time saying, I'm sorry, or even thank you, right? Yeah. And even in Asian culture, to say I love you is very unusual. We don't hug, we don't say I love you, and so no one's used to it. Wow. So I project that love and light to them as well. And I said, higher self of so-and-so, be it your parent, be it your lover, your spouse, who is giving you a lot of negativity and greed. I said, I surrender them to you. You know what's for your highest good. You know, he'll reach them and touch them in their soul and their heart where I can't reach. Yeah. And then I bring it back to myself again. And we cannot give from an empty cup. So we fill our own cups. We have to fill ourselves with that love. We have to give ourselves that forgiveness, that love first. And from there, you know, we cultivate the patience for them, the compassion and empathy for them to understand that I was once where they are at. I was once unawakened. I was once lost and trapped. And the reason for this is because of society, or the indoctrination, the dogmas, the projections, the subliminal messages has made humanity stuck for millennia. We have been in such a dense vibrational state. And when you're shifting up into that, so when people thought with 20 child, oh, golden age, next thing, no, it's not like that. We are the ones who have to pave the road, and you know, and to usher that beginning of the golden age. We're really at it's rapid, it's very quick, but we're only at the beginning of that, you know, and there's still lots of work, lots of expansion to go. Yeah. So those with a precocious awakening have the responsibility of holding the space for others and say, I am the example, I am the embodiment, I anchor the light very well. Sometimes I drop in vibration and it's okay, I'm perfectly imperfect. I'm a human being as well as a divine being of light. So sometimes I'll drop in vibration and it's just natural and normal, and I'm right back up once I'm aware and conscious of it and integrate it. So I allow myself to go up and down, it's high, 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 high. So it's like a step, all right?
Yeah.
It's not linear like this, but a spiral step up, of high, 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 high. And it's teaching me, I see that these people who are unawakened or of lower vibrations, they have the purpose of contrast, they're needed, and they are teaching me as well. And because through that, it accelerates my journey even faster. So the darkness, the shadow within me and around them propels me more into the light, pushes me more into service. In other words, you see, because I'm so aware of that darkness, that that's it, I'm done with it. I need to have the opposing vibration. I need to lift them up. So I lift them up through being the example, not by actually changing them. In fact, the more you tell them, oh, no, you need to be this way. It doesn't work at all.
Isn't that funny? I don't know how it was in Singapore, but you know how here I observed it for years. People would wake up and the first thing they would do is go tell everybody, and they put these posts up and they'd say, nobody's listening to me, and I think that's one of the first things we had to learn was just what's important is what we believe. We've got another 10 minutes or so, and I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you'd like to do, meditation, channeling, anything, or even if you would just like to put up some commentary on a particular subject, but anything you would like to do and share with the Soulogy audience?
All right. Okay. I think we could end with a short prayer and a guided meditation to assist in the smooth transition of the ascension process for people to ground it in, all these cosmic energies inundating us, the solar flares, these retrogrades, the lunar energies, the eclipses. It's like humanity has not had a break because we constantly inundated by cosmic energies to make the earth shift into 5D and beyond very rapidly, and people are like disoriented, right? Yeah. So we can do that. But I would like to give an advice to people who are watching and who are new to this journey. Understand you're not alone. What you're experiencing, others have either gone through themselves or are still going through it. And there are people who will go through it much later. Because if all of us went through it at the same time, society will collapse. The illusion will be gone. There's no matrix. You'll be the end. If all of us are enlightened at the same time, game over. There's no game to play, right? The illusionary fabric will collapse. So all of us have to ascend at different stages. So the earlier ones pave the way for the future generations to make it easier and easier. As we're working on ancestral karma, our own karma, and making the vibration of the earth denser and lighter, from dense to lighter, it makes it a lot easier for future generations and other people awakening much later because they have a greater support group. And the people who already dealt with their shadow, they then have the experience. Otherwise, it's the blind leading the blind. You've never gone through yourself. How do you teach? How do you help and support? You don't even understand it. That's why for people who went through their own darkness very early and people around them were like, couldn't figure out what's going on. Even I didn't know what was going on with me, right? And there was very little support. In the early days, I recall when I first met my twin flame, there was hardly anything online about twin flames, very little. Now you search YouTube, twin flames, thousands of videos, so much support. People is getting into the collective consciousness. Even something like Reiki is so mainstream now. People hardly even think about it. It's offered in a spa, right? So that's how you know that the awakening, the ascension process is on the way, So as you're not alone, there are others out there. There's support for you, even in your darkest moments. Say thank you. Thank you is the easiest prayer. You don't know what to say thank you for the experience. And when you acknowledge and say thank you, the charge disappears. The energy vibrates higher. Gratitude is very powerful. Appreciation is one of the strongest energies. So especially when you don't like it, just say thank you. Say thank you to it. Understand there's a reason why, And a lot of people are going to meet their twin flames. That's what 1111 is about. It's a mirror, right? 11, the awakening code. So with each eclipse, with each portal gateway, like the Lions Gate 8-8, the 11-11, the 12-12, the 10-10. You know, people will start to see number synchronicities pop up in their life. Their life will explode with miracles. And that's how you know you're on the right path. When you see feathers, when manifestations or what you think manifesting into the 3D very rapidly happens for you, when all kinds of synchronicities and signs and miracles and answered prayers show up rapidly, you know you're on the right path. And understand it's an endless spiral, it's an endless path. It's always expanding. You'll never get it done. Okay, there's always a higher high. And even Jesus and Buddha and all these ascended masters, they only have one piece of the puzzle. It's so infinite. Source is so infinite, right? And so many dimensions and alternate realities and parallel universes, like complete, you know, infinity, and eternity. That's what it is, you know. Okay, so I'm going to guide everyone watching into a meditation to anchor in the light and the light codes to aid in ascension. Can I have everyone close your eyes? Place your feet on the ground with your palms facing upwards. I'd like to invite all of you to visualize yourself sitting on a crystal chair made from pure quartz crystal. You're under a golden pyramid. This is a healing chamber, a very sacred space. Take a deep cleansing breath in. As you breathe in, let go of all the tension in your body. As you breathe out, feel a sense of serenity, tranquility, and inner peace surround you. Take a deep cleansing breath in, charging up all your chakras and energy centers. As you breathe out, feel light as a feather, releasing all that no longer serves you, sending it down to Mother Earth for transmutation. Lastly, breath in, make it count. There's nowhere else you need to be. There's nothing else you need to do but be fully present and receptive. I call upon our collective angels, our spirit guides, the ascended masters, our higher self, our ancestors, our totem animal spirits to be present here with us. Great divine spirit, we surrender ourselves completely to your hands in full faith and trust that you have our back and that you understand what's going on in the 3D and in all the other dimensions. Archangel Michael, bless our sacred space and our medicine wheel. Send us your angels to shield and protect us from what no longer serves us. Standing sentinel, watching us every step of the way. Archangel Raphael, heal us all on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels, reversing the aging process in us, rejuvenating and revitalizing every single cell in our body, restoring us back to perfect, optimum functioning, good health and balance so that we can continue to do our good work, our service. Archangel Gabriel, open up and expand our third eye chakras, granting us access to the Akashic records, making us pure vessels and conduits and channels for high-dimensional energies to flow through, so that we can serve humanity in this time of the ascension, back to the golden age, granting us expanded intuition, psychic abilities, our clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudient, and claircognizant gifts, all our abilities from other lifetimes, from our past lives, our future lives, integrating in the here and now to enable us to be better servants of the light. Archangel Uriel, open up and expand our crown chakra, granting us the ability to download, receive, and intercept and interpret all these cosmic energies and downloads into our cellular memory and structure, allowing us to break free from fears, anxieties, sabotaging negative beliefs, dogmas, traumas, past hurts and pains that no longer serves us, that's holding us back from reaching our fullest and highest potential in alignment with our soul blueprint and divine purpose. In full faith and trust that our prayers have been heard and answered, we let go and trust, and with gratitude and appreciation in our hearts, we expand this love and consciousness to everyone on this planet in this time, in the here and now. And we also ask for the activation of our Merkaba-like body, activating our child-stranded DNA potential, cementing our light body across all timelines, dimensions, and incarnations, dissolving karmic contracts of the past so that we can move forward as barriers of light, map makers of the ascension, serving ourselves and the collective consciousness and the highest good in this time. It is so, and so it is. Amen.
Amen.
All
So
right.
it is. From the A and Amen to the Z and Zen. Yeah.
Right. Alpha and Omega. Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to collaborate with you again sometime. And thank you very much for the prayer and meditation. It was very beautiful. And thank you for your service to humanity.
Thank you as well for being my co-creator and sharing sacred space, allowing me the platform to teach and transform others through my own personal experience.
Yeah, I enjoyed your YouTube page, your YouTube channel. I went and looked at it, and some of the other stuff you were doing on Facebook. How can people find you and for your practitioner services, as well as your other links and that type of thing?
Well, they can search for me on Facebook, Luke Elijah Spirit, with just one E, LUKELIJAH Spirit. On Facebook, I'm Luke Elijah on YouTube, lots of videos with other spiritual practitioners like yourself. One day I would like to have you on my channel as well. And I can't wait to co-create with you. I'll probably want to visit you in Hawaii at some point, and we can do workshops and teachings and sacred circles, cacao ceremonies, sound healings, and whatnot. They can also follow me on Instagram, Luke Elijah, LUKELIJAH. I post all my videos, my interviews, wisdom quotes, and all kinds of motivational and high vibrational stuff on there. Excellent.
Excellent. All right. Well, this is the year of collaboration, co-creation, supporting our brothers and sisters. So everybody, I would encourage you to get over to his links and check them out. It's good stuff. And if he'll agree to it, we'll get him back on here from time to time so we can pick his brain a little bit and expand our awareness and continue to build this wave of ascension. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you.
Take care.
Honor you.
Yeah, honor you, sir. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for dropping in.